Welcome to another story made by Oracle One. In the sprawling metropolis of Chronos City, where time was not just a measure but a tangible fabric stretched and folded over itself, lived a seamstress unlike any other. Her name was Alara, and her craft was not sewn merely with needles and threads but with the quantum threads of time itself. To the untrained eye, she was a mere repairer of seams, holes in garments, frayed hems, and torn linings. But in the shadowed corners of the city, in the labyrinth of alleyways lined with luminous fabric shops selling shimmering, impossible clothes, Alara was known for something far more extraordinary. She repaired the very fabric of time. Time in Chronos City was no linear slide but an intricate, multi-dimensional weave. It flickered like a spider's web, shimmering with countless threads that twisted and turned through the past, present, and future. These quantum threads were invisible to most, but Alara could see them, shimmered in hues that matched her mood and intent. Brilliant cerulean when she was calm, deep violet in sorrow, and fiery orange when her emotions burned. Her workshop was a sanctum of tranquility, where old machines hummed quietly, quantum needles piercing air and fabric simultaneously, weaving strands that rattled with potential futures. Alara's gift was rare, a paradoxical anomaly in a world where time flowed uniformly for the rest. She was the last thread weaver, able to mend ruptures that threatened reality. Each tear in time, like a ripped dress or a scorched garment, could unleash chaos if left untouched. The past could bleed into the future. Causes could become effects, and the fabric of existence could unravel. She repaired these tears with deft fingers, threading quantum fibers, the intangible strings holding all events together. For a decade, Alara worked quietly, her efforts unnoticed save by the advisors, an ancient clique of time scholars overseeing the city's temporal order. They rarely interfered unless the cracks in the thread caused drastic consequences such as mass temporal dislocations or paradoxes. Late one evening, under a heavy storm that cast silver streaks of lightning across the sky, Alara discovered something horrific. One of her recent repairs had been undone. A bright scar, patched with a silk-like weave of quantum thread the day before, now yawned open and ragged again. She frowned, the vivid thread hues deepening with unease. At first, she assumed time itself was unstable, but this was no natural tear. The threads were deliberately unpicked. Someone had entered her sanctuary, and undone her labor. Fear gripped her. Whoever was responsible knew the importance of her work and the tools she used. This was no ordinary vandalism but sabotage, and the consequences could rip the city apart. The next day, Alara set about her work with steely resolve. She ventured deeper into the fabric of time than ever before, her stitches as intricate and precise as the weaving of a master artisan. She repaired not only the visible tear but traced subtle disruptions where threads frayed in the corners, repairing micro-faults often invisible until they festered. Yet as dusk fell again, the damage was repeated. Quantum threads frayed, her stitches undone as if by a phantom hand that slipped in unheard. Panic met frustration, and Alara decided she could no longer remain passive. She had to find the saboteur. Setting safekeeping alarms she had rarely used, Alara enhanced the quantum threads with a trace weave, a kind of shimmering signature that would leave clues wherever the threads were tampered with. She also upgraded her workshop with time sensors, chronicling fluctuations in linearity and signaling shifts in quantum entanglement patterns. Night after night, the mystery opponent struck, unraveling her repairs, but each time, the trace weave revealed subtle clues. Threads shimmered faintly with a flicker of crimson, a signature unlike her own cool cerulean. Someone else worked with quantum fibers, but far less elegantly, with hurried and crude gestures careless of the temporal damage. While healing the temporal rips, Alara began piecing together an odd pattern. The tears were not random. They followed a hidden pathway across the city's timeline. A route that began at an obscure lab tucked beneath the city center at an old clock tower. Alara's journey to the tower was perilous. She weaved through shifting timescapes where portals to lost memories and forgotten futures flickered like ghosts. But her needle was swift and sure, and every step she took was reinforced with her quantum thread, stabilizing her presence across time fractures. At the base of the clock tower, behind a wall of crushed gears and rusted pistons, she found a laboratory. Here, the air buzzed with unstable energies, temporal rifts yawned open like wounds and emitted strange hums that grated on her senses. Among the scattered papers, she saw blueprints detailing a device capable of weaving quantum threads, but crude, blunt, dangerous, a weaponized form of her own craft. She was not the only one who could weave time threads. The lab bore signs of hurried departure, but on a dusty table, a small, broken spool lingered. Quantum thread dyed in the same crimson hue that tainted the sabotaged rifts. Alara ran her fingers through it and felt an icy chill, a thread that shimmered with madness and obsession. At that moment, a shadow slipped through a fractured portal. She tensed, eyes narrowing. The figure stepped forward. A tall woman wrapped in crimson and black, her eyes gleaming red with untold desperation. She introduced herself as Varys, a former time scholar exiled for unethical experiments on temporal manipulation. She had once hoped to expand time's fabric to grant humanity dominion over fate, but obsession twisted her purpose. She hated the repaired, ordered flow of time Alara upheld. "You patch wounds I create, but time demands chaos to evolve," Varys hissed, her fingers twitching with restless energy. "Your repairs are shackles, strangling the potential of existence." Alara shook her head, wounded by the accusation yet standing firm. "Without order, time is destruction. Without threads to hold the weave, chaos consumes us all." They clashed, not with swords or guns but with the weaving of fate itself. Alara's cerulean threads danced and shimmered, a tapestry of delicate beauty and resilience. Varys' crimson filaments twisted like thorned vines, tearing and unraveling. Their duel spanned minutes that stretched across hours, touching futures that burned and pasts that wept. The city itself trembled as cracks opened and closed, weaving together in a sobering chorus of the fragile balance time must hold. In the end, it was neither power nor skill that won the battle, but understanding. Alara offered a thread, not to imprison time nor unleash chaos, but one that embraced both, a delicate blend of certainty and uncertainty, order and evolution. She proposed to Varys a pact, to weave time not as enemies but as guardians together, balancing fragility and change. For a moment, Varys' fiery gaze faltered. The madness that clung to her heart loosened, replaced by reluctant hope. They merged their threads, quantum blue coiling with crimson, creating a new fabric of time that shimmered with unprecedented complexity. It was imperfect and beautiful, alive with potential and careful control. With Varys' cooperation, the stolen threads were rewoven, the tears mended permanently. Alara's workshop glowed with renewed vigor, the air alive with possibility. The city of Kronos breathed anew, a living mosaic of times past and future, stitched together by hands once divided but now united by the sacred art of the threadline. For more stories, like and subscribe.